I still can't believe what happened. It started on a quiet Tuesday morning, just like any other at my remote cabin deep in the woods. I was sipping my coffee, enjoying the peaceful sounds of the forest, when I heard it. A faint, strange cry. It wasn't a bird, or a fox, or any animal I recognized. It sounded almost human, but not quite. It was coming from right under my front porch steps. Curiosity got the better of me. He crept over, my heart thumping in my chest. I knelt down and peered into the darkness beneath the wooden stairs. That's when I saw it. Two huge, dark eyes staring back at me, filled with tears. It was a baby, but like no baby I had ever seen. It was covered in thick, dark, brown fur, with oversized hands and feet. Its face was surprisingly human-like, but broader, with a flattened nose. It was a Bigfoot infant, a baby Sasquatch. My first reaction was pure shock. I just froze, staring. Bigfoot. Here, under my steps. It seemed impossible. Something straight out of a campfire story. The little one let out another whimpering cry, and all my fear just melted away. It wasn't a monster. It was a scared, lost baby. It looked so helpless, shivering and alone. I had no idea what to do. Should I call someone? Who would I even call? Hello, 911. There's a baby Bigfoot under my porch. They'd think I was crazy. Slowly, carefully, I reached a hand out. The infant flinched, but didn't run. It just watched me, its big, sad eyes tracking my every move. I spoke to it in a soft, gentle voice, the way you would to a frightened puppy. Hey there, little fella. It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. I left a small bowl of water and a few berries I had picked earlier near the opening. Then, I backed away to give it some space. I spent the rest of the day just watching from my window, my mind serene. Where were its parents? Was it hurt? As dusk began to settle, the little creature finally crawled out from under the steps. It was small, maybe the size of a human toddler, but much stockier. It tentatively sniffed at the berries, then gobbled them down before quickly lapping up some water. Seeing it eat was a huge relief. But my next problem was what to do for the night. The temperature was dropping, and I couldn't just leave it out there. After a lot of thought, I decided to take a huge risk. I opened my cabin door, went back inside, and just left it ajar. I made a little nest of old blankets near the fireplace, hoping it would understand the invitation. For hours, nothing happened. I sat on my couch, barely breathing, just listening. Then, I heard a soft, shuffling sound. The little Bigfoot was standing in the doorway, peering inside. It looked at the fire, then at the nest of blankets, then at me. It took a hesitant step inside, then another. Finally, it curled up in the blankets and, within minutes, was fast asleep. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I had a baby Sasquatch sleeping in my living room. The next few days were surreal. I named him Buster. We fell into a strange little routine. He'd follow me around the cabin like a furry shadow, watching everything I did with intense curiosity. He was incredibly intelligent. He learned to gently take food from my hand and would mimic my gestures. If I waved, he'd try to wave back with his big, clumsy hand. He loved music. Whenever I played my old guitar, he would sit perfectly still, his head cocked to the side, completely captivated. It was a magical, secret little world we had, but in the back of my mind, I knew it couldn't last. He was a wild creature. He belonged with his own kind, and I was constantly worried. What if someone saw him? What if his parents came looking for him and saw me as a threat? The forest that was once my sanctuary now felt full of unseen eyes. Every snapped twig, every rustle of leaves made me jump. One evening, about a week after I found him, I was sitting on the porch while Buster played in the yard, chasing fireflies. Suddenly, a sound echoed through the trees. It was a deep, resonant call, a sound I had never heard before, but I knew, instinctively, what it was. Buster froze. He stood up on his little legs and let out a high-pitched call in response. My blood ran cold, A few moments later, Two massive figures emerged from the tree line. They were giants, easily 8 or 9 feet tall, covered in the same dark fur as Buster. They moved with a silent, powerful grace that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The parents, my heart hammered against my ribs. I slowly stood up and raised my hands to show I meant no harm. The larger of the two, who I assumed was the father, took a step forward and let out a low growl. Buster immediately ran and stood in front of me, facing his parents. He let out a series of chirps and soft grunts, pointing at me, then at the empty food bowl on the porch, and then at the cabin door. He was communicating with them. He was telling them I had helped him. The mother figure moved forward slowly. She knelt down. Her eyes, the same huge, dark eyes as Buster's, met mine. There was no anger in them, only understanding, and maybe gratitude. She reached out a massive hand, not towards me, but towards Buster, and gently nudged him. He turned and ran to her, disappearing into her embrace. The father figure watched me for a long moment. He didn't make a sound, but I felt the weight of his gaze. It was a look of acknowledgement. Then, he simply nodded. A clear, deliberate nod. With Buster safely in his mother's arms, they turned and walked back towards the forest. Buster peeked over his mother's shoulder and let out one last little chirp, a tiny goodbye. And then, as silently as they appeared, they vanished into the trees. I stood there on my porch for what felt like an eternity, completely stunned. My strange little house guest was gone. My cabin feels so quiet now, so empty. Sometimes I find myself looking under the steps, half expecting to see those big, dark eyes staring back at me. I'll probably never see Buster or his family again. I have no proof of what happened. No photos, no fur samples, just the memory. A secret I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. The forest doesn't feel scary anymore. It feels watchful, protective. And I know, somewhere out there, my little friend is safe with his family. It was the most incredible, unbelievable week of my life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Thanks for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe for more Tillies from the Deep Woods.